y'all gotta read, bro. You are fucking going through this trauma and pain and agony of these people getting over you, all because you don't take the time to fucking read.
Yeah, it's Dev Hawk. Wow.
It's cold in my city, need a mate just to roll in the winter. Mommy, he's an L, come and roll with a win. What's good? It's your boy Dev Hawk, Title 4D University, your coach, teacher, and professor. And today I wanted to give you guys a free lesson, man. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate this. Saying the same thing over and over. Hopefully that you guys will catch on. Hopefully that you guys will get out of your complacency. Hoping that you guys will get out of this position where you feel as if you're stuck and there's nothing to do, right? Most of everything that you're going through, to no fault of your own really, but is based on your ignorance. They choose to use your ignorance against you, and it is working. First thing that I want you guys to do, I want you to write this down. This is a United States code, okay? A United States code. This is federal law. The reason that we're using federal law, guys, is because anything that involves child support is based on federal law. Your state just has their own version of the law that they created to suit and fit their particular desire, right? But if we understand, number one, child support is a federal program. Child support falls under the Social Security Act of 1935. And if child support is based on the Social Security Act, which is a federally ran program, then all these things that I'm mentioning to you, the reason that they're in federal law is because nobody's suing anyone for child support in federal court. That's not happening. No one is going into federal court for child support cases. It always is going to end up in your state. However, if you have the sense, right? If you start getting your game up and you get your brain together, you can know that you can use all of these federal codes to help you in your child support case based on something called the supremacy clause. You need to write that down as well. Write down supremacy clause, okay? The supremacy clause simply says this, and I'm paraphrasing, okay? It says that no state can make a law that contradicts federal law. Okay, if there's ever a conflict between state law and federal law is the trump card. Federal law is the top dog. Federal law is the law of the land. So everything that I'm giving you right now is not my own words. It's coming from federal law. So let's get into it. The United States code that I want you to write down for anybody who's currently dealing with the income withholding order, if you're dealing with them garnishing your wages, you're going to write down 31 USC 3720D. Okay, I'm going to say that again. 31 USC 3720D. So the crazy thing about it is so many of you have been dealing with garnishment, right? And then you never even went to look it up. Everything that they're doing to you, they're doing because they know that you are not going to do the research. They know that you are not going to study. They know that you are not going to look these things up to contest them. But right now, that excuse is going to be out the window because you're doing the research, okay? So we're coming from 31 USC 3720 uppercase D, garnishments. Let's go on. Let's get into this lesson, y'all. It says this: notwithstanding any provision of state law. Let's stop there. The very first words is notwithstanding any provision of state law. The head of an executive, judicial, or legislative agency that administers a program that gives rise to a delinquent non-tax debt owed to the United States by an individual may be in accordance with this section garnish the disposable pay of the individual to collect the amount owed. If the individual is not currently making the required payment in accordance with any agreement between the agency head and the individual. This is what that says, guys. What this had just said to you was that no matter how the state is working, this is not saying that one state is going to be over the other, right? Any head of an executive, judicial, or legislative agency. Why are they talking about the executive, judicial, or legislative agency? That means that it doesn't matter if this is a judicial court when you're dealing with an actual judge, and it does not matter if this is on the executive side when you're dealing with the administration, like a child support agency, right? And the legislative, those who, Congress, when they make certain rules and laws, okay? So it's basically saying that if you owe money, they have the right to garnish your money if you are not in compliance, if you are not paying the amount of money. Let me read that part again. That administers a program that gives rise to a delinquent non-tax debt. Delinquent means someone who hasn't been paying, okay? Owed to the United States by an individual may be in accordance with this section garnish the disposable pay of the individual to collect the amount owed if the individual is not currently making the required payments. So only if you're not making the required payments are they allowed to come and garnish the money from you. Only if you are not making the required payment. But how many of you were paying and then they still started to garnish your wages? Or the day you got put on child support, the next week came, your next paycheck, bam, they already hit you. How many of you have been dealing with that? This is basically saying that they ain't supposed to touch the money unless you have not been paying. Okay? But something else which was very significant. I'm giving y'all game. You have to break this shit down. I'm giving you something else that was very significant in here. It says that they may, in accordance with this section, garnish the disposable pay. For the purpose of this section, the term disposable pay means that part of the compensation of any individual from an employer. Okay? Remaining after deduction of any amounts required by any other law to be withheld. What does that mean? Y'all gotta read, bro. You are fucking going through this trauma and pain and agony of these people getting over you, all because you don't take the time to fucking read and then take the time to say, I don't understand that word. What does that mean? Let me look it up. If they are garnishing money from your unemployment, they should not be taking that. Why? Because disposable pay is the only thing that they can garnish your money from, number one. Number two, disposable pay is the result of a compensation that you receive from your job, from your employer, right? And here's the key part. Only after the amounts required by any other law are to be withheld. When you get paid, let's say you work and you make $20 an hour, you work 40 hours a week, that's going to come out to what? It's about $800, right? Boom. What should be withheld from your $20 an hour? Yes, taxes, guys. Taxes are the only thing, right, that is by law supposed to be withheld. How many of you, number one, you have child support on your ass and the amount that you pay is based on your gross income? If you're dealing with that, that already shows that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, because your child support from the rip is supposed to go be according to your disposable income. If you're having problems with child support and you're looking for ways to challenge them, you need to go hit my Pinsite account right now. You can get access to all of the discounts. Literally everything in my Pinsite store is going for at least $24, okay? I'm talking about video trainings, e-guides, templates. Anything you want is $24, and I got a couple packages in there. Click the link, browse what I got. Go ahead and get your order today. Let's go. Okay? So, somebody on here said that in Maryland, they are allowed to take up to 60%. Well, this is why you need to read the federal law. Hold on, guys. I gotta take a sip real quick because it's about to get juicy. This is about to get real juicy. Let's go to the next paragraph. Section B. It says, in carrying out any garnishment of disposable pay of an individual under Section A, the head of the executive, judicial, or legislative agency shall comply with the following requirements. The head of the executive, judicial, or legislative, that also includes child support, they shall comply with the following requirements. Number 1, this is for that king in Maryland. The amount deducted under this section for any pay period may not exceed 15% of disposable pay. Let me repeat that for that king in Maryland who said that Maryland says that they're allowed to go ahead and garnish up to 60% of your income. The amount deducted under this section for any pay period may not exceed 15% of disposable pay, except that the greater percentage may be deducted with the written consent of the individual. With the written consent. So guys, if you're currently getting your paycheck garnished and they're taking more than 15%, ask yourself this question. Did you give them written consent? Did you give them the authority to go ahead and take more than some people just might do that? Some people say like, yeah, go ahead. I want y'all to do it so that way is out of the way and it's done. Somebody said, does that count the same way? Yes. Every state in the United States of America. Every state in the United States of America. Okay? For anybody watching, everything that I'm telling you is based off of federal law. So this works for any state in the United States of America. Okay? Let's go ahead and read number 2. Number 2 says, the individual shall be provided written notice sent by mail to the individual's last known address a minimum of 30 days prior to the initiation of the proceedings from the head of the executive, judicial, or legislative agency, informing the individual of A, the nature and the amount of the debt to be collected. Let's go back. We got to go back. I don't want to move through this too fast. I need y'all to catch this. I need y'all to get this, all right? The individual shall be provided written notice sent by mail to the individual's last known address a minimum of 30 days prior to the initiation of the proceedings from the head of the executive, judicial, and legislative agency, informing the individual of A, the nature and the amount of the debt to be collected, B, the intention of the agency to initiate proceedings to collect the debt through deductions from pay, and C, the explanation of the rights of the individual under this section. Guys, I've been telling y'all this for the longest. They can't just garnish your fucking money. They can't. That money belongs to you. You have a right to due process. Why do you think you hear me say due process, due process, due process? Due process simply says that the government cannot deprive you of your life, liberty, or property without first giving you a notice. Who did it say? It said that they have to give you a written notice and a hearing. and a decision made by a neutral decision maker. That is due process. So right now, you're currently dealing with the income withholding order. They're garnishing your money, and they have not given you this. Bro, it says it plain and simple. These aren't my words. I'm going to go back and read it again. In the carrying out of any garnishment of disposable pay of an individual under Section A, the head of the executive, judicial, and legislative agency shall comply with the following requirements. Number one, the amount under this section for any pay period may not exceed 15% of disposable pay, except that the greater percentage may be deducted with the written consent of the individual. Number two, the individual shall be provided written notice sent by mail to the individual's last known address a minimum of 30 days prior to the initiation of the proceedings from the head of the executive, judicial, or legislative agency informing the individual of A, the nature of the debt to be collected, B, the intention of the agency to initiate proceedings to collect the debt through the deduction of pay, and C, an explanation of the rights of the individual under this section. Okay? So dig it. These are the things that they're supposed to do. And guess what? The letter needs to come from the head of the agency. It can't just be any Joe Schmo. It can't just be anybody. It should come from the head of the agency. It should be signed by the director, the head of the agency. If you're in Texas, that may be the attorney general. Right? Guys, this is wisdom. This is game. These are the things that have been written. They want to hide it from you, so they put it in documents. They put it in a book. They put it on the internet, and you still not looking. And you still bitching about, Dev, I'm fucked up right now. I don't got no money to do nothing. I can't think straight. They taking my money every week. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that. It's that you are allowing them unknowingly. You are allowing them. We got to stop that. Let's go on a little bit further, guys. I'm going to go a little bit further for y'all. Here's number 3. The individual shall be provided an opportunity to inspect and copy records relating to the debt. What does that mean? What does that look like? Well, they say that you owe $5,000 in arrears. Well, you have the opportunity to inspect and make copies of that record. Let's go ahead and look at the debt. How the fuck did y'all come up with this $3,000 you say that I owe? Even if they off by 1 penny, you could owe $2,999.99. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And you can contest it. So you have the opportunity to do so. How many of you went and even checked to see it? You just said, man, they saying I owe this. Man, they saying I owe this. Man, they saying I owe that. Do you? Come on, man, this is your life. You got to be on top of it. Don't let nobody tell you about your shit. You should be on top of it. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so let's go to number 4. The individual shall be provided an opportunity to enter into a written agreement with the executive, judicial, or legislative agency under terms agreeable to the head of the agency to establish a schedule for repayment of the debt. That also means that before they start garnishing, you must be given the opportunity to sign the agreement that says, look, I'll let you take 15%. I'll let you take 20%. I'll let you take 30% of my check to make sure that I'm paying off the debt. You understand what I'm saying? This is the law, kings and queens. This is the law. Are you doing your part? Come on, y'all. Let's get into it. Number 5. The individual shall be provided an opportunity for hearing in accordance with subsection C on the determination of the head of the executive, judicial, or legislative agency concerning A, the existence or the amount of debt, and B, in the case of an individual whose repayment schedule is established other than by a written agreement pursuant to paragraph 4, the terms of the repayment schedule. You gotta wake up, okay? You have to wake up. You have to get to a point where you realize, like, yo, enough is enough. I'm not dealing with this shit no more. I'm not letting these people rob me no more. This is for all the people that say, damn, Dev, if you really want to help, you'll just give out the game. Well, here I am. Here I am. I'm giving this shit out. I hope you got your pen and paper. I hope you're taking notes. Number 6, if the individual has been reemployed within 12 months after having been involuntarily separated from employment, no amount may be deducted from the disposable pay of the individual until the individual has been reemployed continuously for at least 12 years. Guys, do y'all know what the fuck that means? Yo, this is crazy. Do y'all know what that means? How many of you been on child support? You've been paying, and for whatever reason, no fault of your own, you lose your job, right? You get fired, you get laid off, or whatever the case. Well, once you get laid off, if within 12 months of you being laid off, you go and get yourself another job, guess what? They have to wait for you to be working 12 consecutive months before they can start garnishing your pay again. Let me repeat that. If you was working a job and you got fired because it's called involuntary unemployment, meaning you lost your job, right? If you get to a position where you lose your job, you are no longer working, right? Hold on. Jace, what's wrong, son? All right, my fault, man. Father duties always call. You understand? But if you were working a job and you lose your job, no fault of your own, and after you lost that job, you go ahead within 12 months, like less than a year, you go and get yourself another gig. When you get that new job, by law, they are not supposed to start garnishing your money for at least 12 months. Okay? For at least 12 months. Now think about this. Even during that time, guys, you know what you can do? Even during that time, guys, you can go and put in a modification when you lose your job. You can go and put in a modification for a temporary cease. Like, they can stop that shit temporarily. Like, doing shit like that is not hard, right? That's not nothing crazy, but most of you don't even know you can do that. So it goes on to say, number 1, a hearing under subsection B5 shall be provided prior to the issuance of a garnishment order if the individual on or before the 15th day following the mailing of the notice described in section B2 and in accordance with such procedures as the head of the executive, judicial, or legislative agency may prescribe, files a petition requesting such a hearing. Number 2, if the individual does not file a petition requesting a hearing prior to such date, the head of the agency shall provide the individual a hearing under subsection A51 upon request, but such hearing need not be provided prior to the issuing of the garnishment order. The hearing official, or number 3, the hearing official shall issue a final decision at the earliest practical date, but not later than 60 days after the filing of the petition requesting the hearing. And D, the notice to the employer of the withholding order shall contain only such information as may be necessary for the employer to comply with the withholding order. Guys, they've been sending out withholding orders on you to your employer and not following any of their own guidance. And this is what I'm telling you. They made it very specific here when they said that the executive, judicial, and legislative agency. Do you know where child support falls under? Child support falls under the executive agency. Okay? So this is covering all the agencies. There's only 3. It's covering all the agencies, saying that any agency from any branch, whether it's executive, judicial, or legislative, they must comply with these things. They must follow these directions. Okay? Guys, it's very imperative for you to start reading. It's very imperative for you to look over your own paperwork. You need to know what's going on with your own case. Okay? I've been doing this shit for such a long time now that once we get to talking, I can dismantle and break down all the due process violations in your case, every aspect of it. I can tell you where they did wrong, and I can tell you how to remedy that. I can tell you how they fucked up here and how to remedy that, right? You can do these things as well, but it takes the time. You have to buckle down. You have to get that confidence in yourself that says, man, I don't really understand this shit, but I need to figure it out, and go do it. Go do it. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be super smart. I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the world, to be honest with you, but I'm really not. I'm really not. But I'm focused. I'm dedicated, and I'm driven. Okay? And that also means that it's okay to be inquisitive, but you also have to get to a point where you feel like, man, I'm not letting these people fuck me over. I'm going to try some shit. Most people, you are so scared to try things. You're so afraid to try things. Well, what if this happened? And what if that happened? And that's all because you're moving based on the fact of not knowing what your rights are. How do I request a breakdown of what I owe and pay? See, a question like that makes no sense to me, right? And there's no disrespect to you, Taylor. But what do you mean? How do you request it? You go and request it. You gotta hit them up. Hey, I need to see a transcript. They'll tell you what's necessary, but that's who you go and talk to. You don't talk to Dev, right? Dev, what I say don't mean shit. Cause I could tell you something and they say, well, no, we don't do it like that here. So go and figure it out. Go and find out. Okay? I don't know everything. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't know everything, and I know a lot. I know a whole hell of a lot. But you got to get out of this thing of being handicapped to where you need somebody to support you and help you in every aspect of everything. You can do such things on your own. Okay? You can do such things on your own. I do have a template, and I've had this template for a long time, and I've been giving you a e-guide to help you out with this, telling you that you can go and address the fact that they handled your garnishments all wrong. They violated your right to due process, and you want the whole garnishment process to stop. If you want that template, comment right now, IWO. Put IWO in the comments. Okay? Put IWO in the comments. And you can get a link that will show you how to get the template so that you can go ahead and challenge the garnishments. Challenge the income withholding order, okay?